सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. So what we are studying in this retreat, for so many new people who are here, are 20 values that are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 13. And what Lord Krishna says is that these values actually are the basis, right? Any seeker or any normal human being must have these values, and anything else is they become foundation upon which further things can be built, further spiritual evolution. But if you don't have these values, then what happens is you're trying to build a tall building without creating a foundation, which is not going to work, right? So this is what 20 values are, and now we are on the 15th value. Is it the 15th value? Samachittat nityam cha samachittatvam ishta anishta upapattishu. So this is here. This is the value that we are doing. Nityam samachittatvam ishta anishta upapattishu. So what it means is, ishta means something which is desirable, what is desired by you. And anishta means something which is not desired by you. When you get it, well, life is all about not everything happening your way. So everybody has to learn how to deal with life and not to lose the balance when different things show up in life. So upapattishu means gaining things which are desired or undesired. And what is Lord Krishna talking about? Nityam samachittatvam. A certain composure, and that is, doesn't get composure, which doesn't get disturbed when you have to go, when things don't happen your way. Okay? Now that seems like a very difficult thing to do, because what we have experienced so far is, we are very happy when things happen our way, and then we feel low when things don't go our way. So our emotional life is always a little roller coaster and completely dependent on what happens to us. So we don't find ourselves, and even today if you're happy, you don't know what is in store for you tomorrow. So there is always a little anxiety as to what is going to come. So therefore we don't find complete relaxation. So here Lord Krishna is talking about a certain composure. Now the question is, it's wonderful. Everybody wants to have that composure, but how does one do it, right? So one way to do it is you keep telling yourself, I have to be composed, I have to be composed, I have to be composed. And it will, it's like pressure cooker, which will one day burst. So that is not really the way, because the more you try to suppress your emotions, right, the more they will create pressure within you, which will one day burst. And it will all just come out in all displaced manner. Right? So therefore, it's not about trying to condition yourself not to be in a certain way, because that creates it's counterproductive and it doesn't work. So what can you do? Well, any problem that you want to solve, it can't be solved at this level. You have to rise above. Rise above in the sense that change your vision of the problem. And as you change the vision of your problem, what happens is, change your vision, then what, the problem doesn't seem so daunting. So what can you learn about life which allows you to go through life and deal with what is pleasant and unpleasant, what is desired by you and what is not desired by you, with a certain amount of equanimity without losing your balance. So, the only way we can recognize is to understand the nature of the universe. So, the universe doesn't work according to our wishes. It doesn't work according to our whims and fancies. It works according to certain infallible laws. So what it means is, suppose you have some emotional attachment to the crystal glass that your grandmother gave you, and you love it, right? Now you were holding it, and something happened, and you lost concentration, and you dropped it, and it fell, and it broke. Now, what happened? You may feel destroyed, emotionally destroyed, because that cup was not just a normal cup, and you had a lot of emotional value to that cup. But what happened is, law of gravity applied. Can law of gravity wait for you? No, it cannot wait for you. Why? Because if it changes and if it begins to say, oh, poor person, oh, they have so much emotional attachment to this cup, let me stop. If gravity stops, what happens? The earth collides, everything is a mess. So, we live in the universe, right? We, according to us, right? We are, sometimes when things don't go our way, we think that the life has been hard on us. Or things, world is basically unfair. So I hear so many people saying, good people suffer and bad people get away. And what is the assumption? That the world is chaotic. It has no justice. It has no proper compensation system. Or sometimes you can just project your anger on the world and say this, either it is unfair, or it is cruel, or it is source of suffering. And what we do need to recognize is, world is none of that. It's just governed by laws which are impartial, unbiased, and impersonal. And what it means is that impartial means it does not make a distinction between a beggar or a king, or a person who has a lot of emotional attachment to that cup. All three, if they drop the cup, the result will be the same. That is called impartiality. Now, impersonal. So, is somebody punishing you if your cup breaks? Some big daddy is punishing you, saying that, oh, you are really a bad person now. You're something that you are so connected to, I'm going to break it to teach you a lesson. It's completely impersonal. Impersonal means laws apply equally to everybody. There are no preferences, there are no concessions, because this is how things are. It's just a setup. And the third thing is that it is unbiased. Unbiased, what it means is that there is never going to be a mistake. So if a human being is taking a call, the human being can always overlook certain factors, it can be partial towards one thing. But if it is a setup, then it is totally unbiased, and what it means is it is infallible. There is never a possibility of any mistake. Imagine if gravity made a mistake, if biological laws made a mistake, if chemical laws made a mistake. 2 hydrogen atoms, 1 oxygen atom is water. But if you add 1 more oxygen atom, H2O2, it changes completely the property. It becomes hydrogen peroxide. So little error on part of the universe to make that just one oxygen atom got added, and it will lead to disaster. So what we need to understand is we are not living in an unfair, random universe. We are not living in a universe which is source of suffering. We are living in the universe which is governed by a series of laws. And what are the series of laws? Wow.
Construction.
Yeah, this is like really a lot. Everything else you can keep open, just this one. Yeah. That's why we do 3 Shantis. The peace that the environment has to be conducive, right? So, the laws are infallible, and in that understanding, what are the laws that I'm talking about? Physical laws, biological laws, chemical laws, physiological laws. Your body is the same as my body. It has certain laws. The liver performs one function, kidney performs another function, and it's all coordinated. You didn't do it. There is an order, physiological order. This is why you come to a doctor. The doctor has seen you for the first time, but the doctor understands the system and they can help you. Physiological laws. Then you have what we call emotional laws. What is emotional laws? That if you went through this particular situation, right, if you grew up with a feeling of a lack of love, then what? You will continue to project this feeling with everybody that you meet until you decide to change it. So that means you can work with the laws to help yourself, but you cannot either deny the presence of laws or you cannot defy them. But you have to learn to live with the laws and make your life successful. So this is what we call emotional laws. Then you have one final law that Vedas talk about, and that is the famous law of karma. Now that you need to understand a little bit, because there is a lot of confusion around law of karma. So what law of karma says is, if everything is governed by cause and effect relationship, then it's not possible that there is no relationship between your actions and the results. It's not possible. So that means you create a cause through your actions, and what is the job of the universe? To give you the results of those actions. Now, we need to, see, first of all, you don't even need to believe in Vedas when they tell you that there is law of karma. Why? Because everything that you have been doing so far, you intuitively understand that if I want to get this, I have to do this. How did you come to know that? If I want to become a doctor, I need to enter a medical school. If I want to make money, I have to find a way, right? Either I start my own business, or I become a professional, or I, become a thief, whatever. You can decide. So what it means is that you have something in mind and you are able to figure out, what should I do to get there? What does it mean? You intuitively understand cause and effect relationship. So if I do this, I will get that. But the problem occurs when every time you do something, it doesn't always happen the way you expected, and that's when you get disappointed, and that's when you start projecting on the universe. So what we do need to understand is a little better understanding of the laws of karma. So, generally, when we operate in our life, our understanding of cause and effect is with reference to what we see in front of us. And suppose you're 30 years, 40 years, that is the paradigm within which you understand cause and effect. But like every other law of karma, can any law exist only for a period of 40 years or 50 years? Law of gravity, biological laws, emotional laws, physiological laws. If I tell you it is only for 100 years, you will laugh at me. Then law of karma is also not within a specific period of time, like every other law. So what it means is cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect, lifetimes. It continues over lifetimes. And this is why certain past causes can be coming today, which you don't know they exist. But in the order, that it is already, because that is the order of the universe, the laws. So the causes are there, which then come together with the present causes and they produce an effect. So you need to understand that, and if you really and intimately understand that, then what will happen? That you will, even if things don't go your way, you will not enter into blaming the universe. You will understand that maybe perhaps there are some causes which I'm not aware of, but they are kicking in. And they are giving me the result which I don't necessarily want. But now what can I do? So this is where you need to understand law of karma properly. Unfortunately, if you don't understand law of karma properly, you become fatalistic. And what is fatalistic? Something goes wrong in your life, and the first thing that you will do, right, is, oh, my karma is bad. I must have done something wrong, right, in my previous life or somewhere, and therefore, right, I'm going through this suffering. Now, does this solve any problem? The values are not to make you feel bad and feel more guilty that, oh, you must have done something really bad in the past. That's why you're going through such a hard time. And now you just have to accept and just have to kind of, passively just wait. That is not what law of karma is. What it says is, there can be present causes and past causes which come together to give you that given situation, but you have choice what to do with that situation. You have a faculty of choice. So that means either, like in yesterday's story, which is forged coupon, right? You receive the pain and you pass on the pain and you don't do anything to deal with the pain. Either you can do that, or you can say that, hey, there may be some reasons without blaming anybody and also without blaming myself. How can I find way to solve this problem? This is called intelligent navigation. Intelligent navigation means your life is in your hand. Don't give away your power to anybody else. Every second you have a faculty of choice, and if you start using it wisely and intelligently, you can change the trajectory of your life. That is the power that is given to you. But if you keep going back into, oh, I must have done something wrong, or projecting on the universe, it's unfair, when will you make wise decisions? And if you don't make wise decisions, the laws are operating, they will give you result for those unwise decisions. You are in a loop, you can't come out. If your decisions are based on anger, based on frustration, based on low self-esteem, the quality of those decisions will be poor. and action based on those, the quality will be poor, and then what the law is what the cause and effect. So if the quality is bad, can the effect turn out to be wonderful? It's impossible. If you burn plastic, it will release gas. There is no other way. But if you burn incense, it will give fragrance.
In that case, you're saying is that to make the intelligent navigation, it shouldn't be emotional, or
It's not about, please, I'm not giving, this is why. One thing that I'm talking about is, how did I start? Listen to me carefully, I'm very careful about what I say. If I keep telling myself I should not be disappointed, I should take everything equally, this is what we call emotional denial.
so how do you know that it's emotional denial or it's actually?
This is why I just said that the only way to solve the problem is to rise above and understand a little bit the nature of the universe. Listen to what every connection that I'm making carefully. I'm not giving you an advice, you should not be emotional. Did I ever say that? Keep your emotions aside. Did I ever say that? I'm talking about something completely different. Understanding life better and so that you can live intelligently. I'm not giving you a set of advice as to what you should do and what you should not do. That becomes preaching. We are teachers. Teachers means we open up, make you discern a little bit better, understand the universe a little bit better, so that you can live in it and you can help yourself. So that means here it is just understanding the nature of the universe. And once if your mind begins to understand the nature of universe, you will understand how silly it is to blame the world.
That's great answer.
It's just clear. Right? And how silly it is also to blame yourself. Both. Because any blame, then you are stuck. You don't help yourself. And the whole teaching is, when you understand what is happening, then you can take decisions which are intelligent, which will take you out of the rut that you are in, which is an entanglement, which just goes on and on and on and on and on. So, what we are talking about, that just like the universe is governed by the laws, one set of laws is karma. And that means there is a certain cause and effect relationship between the actions we perform and the results we get. And if you understand that, then what happens is, even when anishta comes, unpleasant thing comes, you don't blame. You understand that there is an order which is unbiased, impersonal, and infallible order, which is governing this. There is nothing. I'm not being punished. Nobody is cruel to me. I'm not made to suffer for no reason. All these conclusions go away. And when all these conclusions go away, your buddhi, which makes the decision, is fresh, looking into the situation and figuring out what is the response to help yourself. Now, what I do want you to understand is, this is one way of looking at it, that karma is cause and effect. But one thing I want to point out, which is a very important fact, listen to me carefully, because it will help you. Generally, when we think about karma, we think in a linear way, right? Whatever is happening to me is because something that I have done in the past. But things are little more complex than that. And in Mahabharata, right, there are causes and effects, but it's a network of causes and effects. And what do I mean by that? That there is a network of cause and effect. What it means is that there are three situations that I'm going to talk about so that you understand what I mean by that. Okay? The first situation is Arjuna's suffering that everybody knows. Right? Anybody who knows little bit of Mahabharata, little bit of Bhagavad Gita, they know that Arjuna and his brothers were going through a hard time. Now, what does Lord Krishna tell him? Does he tell him that you have done something wrong in your past life and therefore you are suffering? Not at all. Not one verse of the Gita says that. In fact, what Lord Krishna is telling is, you are connected to Duryodhana. He is your cousin. It is he who is doing inappropriate actions and it is impacting you. So where is the suffering coming from? Not your actions, but somebody else's actions. This is what I mean by network, because we are all interconnected, we are all interrelated. So therefore, somebody violates something and you are impacted. It's not always you have done something wrong. So that means it's very important not to take personal blame for it. Just understand there are causes created, whether they are causes created by you or somebody else, but they are impacting us all. And this is something that you will understand. Suppose all of us are going through ecological crisis where people have respiratory problems. Who created this problem? You and me? So many people acted over since industrial revolution, and they released gases in the air and they polluted the environment and the waters. And we all have to go face a common situation. What does it show? We are all interconnected. Others' actions impact us. And the second thing is our actions impact others. So it's one whole network. It's not just linear. And therefore, when the situation occurs, instead of blaming yourself, you can say there are some causes, whether created by me or by somebody else, which brings this situation in front of me. So there is no personal blame. The third thing that you need to recognize is that not only the past actions, what you do now also impacts. That's why living a life of alertness is very important. Because the cause and effect means not only we have created causes in the past, we are continuing to create causes in the present. And our present causes is going to shape our life. So that means you have past causes, then your present causes intervene and they shape whether you are in the same problem or you get yourself out of the problem or you are getting deeper into the problem. It's all your present actions. So this is why we have to take responsibility for our life and try our best to change the quality of our actions, because they are the causes that we create which will produce an effect. There is no way out. Now, I want to give you 3 stories from Mahabharata which substantiate what I'm saying. There is one story in Mahabharata. First, as I told you, Arjuna's suffering and his was not due to what he had done wrong in the past, but because what Duryodhana was doing. This is one scenario. The second scenario is there is a story that Pandu, he was a very evolved king. Once he had gone to the forest and for what we call hunting, yeah. And he heard a sound and he thought it was an animal and he shot an arrow. And as he shot an arrow, then he was totally shocked because when he went, he heard a scream of a human being. And when he goes there, he sees a couple. They were together, and his arrows pierced them, and both of them died. Now, how do you take this story? It's very important. Either you can say, if you're kind of into this unrealistic understanding of karma, that couple was meant to die because they did something wrong in the past. Is it true? Is this how the story is? The story is not like that. The story is Pandu inadvertently killed this couple because he could have been a little bit more cautious. But he was not very cautious, he was lax, and there was a mistake that was committed, and Pandu had a price to pay for it. What was the price that he had to pay for it? Does anybody know Mahabharata story? That couple tells, this couple who is dying, tells him that, hey, you could have been, we didn't disturb you, we are just sitting in the forest. You could have been a little bit more careful about who you shot an arrow. Now you just killed us. So now, so what is the consequence? The consequence was Pandu could not be intimate with his wives. And the day he was intimate, that would be his last day. So there is a whole long story. I'm not going to get into it. But what I want to use the story for is, it is his action of the present which was violating karma, and he had to pay price, not that the couple was meant to go because they had bad karma. Do you understand?
It's like a both, because they also, the couple also, may not be there, it's possible, however they were there, so they also had destined to die there.
No, so then what it does is, if there is always destiny, then what happens is, if that couple was meant to die, then Pandu has no obligation. Hot?
Yeah.
Very hot. No?
Yeah, it's
You want to
Yeah.
some fresh air.
Yeah, we need some fresh air.
Still the fan not working?
No. Yeah, maybe, perhaps.
I don't know. Maybe turn the fan.
So you're
See,
saying
when you take it wrongly, please understand, it will lead to absurdity. Why? I can go on the street and I can start shooting and I can say, oh, you were meant to die. And that's why you happen to be on the street. Otherwise, you would not be on the street. Do you understand what we are talking about? We don't understand what we are talking about. We just repeat law of karma, law of karma, law of karma. We don't think deeply about anything. So then anything, I will go and murder somebody, I will go and steal somebody. Oh yeah, you happen to be there and I stole things. Yeah, it was your karma which brought you here. If you start living like this, you will justify everything. And you will never evolve.
what about the Pandu's action as a purely
So, what?
accident? He didn't try
Yeah,
to kill.
but so what, right? Now, see, some things we need to understand, they are all common sense. Through our so-called spirituality, we become less than common sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Your spirituality has made you like completely cuckoo.
Bubble.
Bubble. Why? Even simple in a court of law. Simple. This is a simple human understanding. You are driving a car. You bang into somebody, right? And the person dies. And you go to the judge and say, "Oh, I didn't intend to do it. So I have to be completely free from any responsibility." Please don't make your spirituality nonsensical. So what? It's a simple thing. Whether you do things intentionally or unintentionally, you have a responsibility because you're using a free will. So this is why wisdom is so important, because you are right. So many of our actions are all over the place unintentionally. Then we feel, oh my God, why is life is treating me like this? Well, you have done it. That is, you have to take the responsibility for it. There is a compensation. Like as I told you, the glass is dropped by somebody who had a lot of attachment. Gravity doesn't make a distinction. Now, the third thing is very, very important, and that is there are certain past causes which produce effects. All three are shown in Mahabharata. There is a famous story of Bhishma, and Bhishma was killed by Shikhandi. And who was Shikhandi? In the past life, Shikhandi was Amba. You remember? Any of you remember the story? You want to hear the story? So, Bhishma was looking for a bride for his half brother, who was, what was his name? Okay, I forgot his name.
Either is not here. And
Yeah,
he
anyway,
knows
it doesn't matter.
what to do.
Okay, there is his half brother, and he goes to the king of, the old style of wedding in India was Swayamvara. Swayamvara is actually the bride chooses her bridegroom. So she has a mala in her hand, and all the kings come and they decide who they want to marry. That is called Swayamvara. So Kashi, as king, had 3 daughters, and 3 daughters were going for Swayamvara. They were going to get married. And then what happens is Bhishma wants all 3 of them for his half brother. So he's not invited because there is some rivalry between Hastinapura and Kashi. So he's not invited. So he barges in and he kidnaps all 3 princesses and he brings them to Hastinapura. And as he brings them to Hastinapura, then what happens is the 2 princesses, they don't do anything. They get married to this person because Hastinapura king was a good king also. The 3rd one, Amba, says, but I'm in love with somebody else. I don't want to marry him. So Bhishma says, my God, why didn't you tell me? Because if you had told me, I would have let you marry him. I didn't know, so I just brought all 3 of you to marry my half brother. So now Amba wants to go back to her past lover, and Bhishma sends her back. As she goes back to this other Shailya, he says, what? You have been kidnapped by somebody for somebody else. I don't want you anymore. So he rejects her and says, now you go back. You go back to Hastinapura. I don't want you. So now she goes back to Hastinapura. The king says, "No, I have 2 of your sisters, I'm fine. You didn't want to marry me in the first place, so I don't want you." Then this Amba tells Bhishma, "You kidnapped me and you created this misery. Neither this king wants me nor that king wants me. And now I am without any partner. So now you marry me." And Bhishma says, "No, I have taken a vow. So I can't marry you." Then she says, "You have ruined my life and I will get back to you." And there's a long story, but long story short, what then happens is she takes birth. She takes birth as Shikhandi, and that Shikhandi is the one who finally kills Bhishma in the war.
Her name.
Huh?
She's asking what is Shikhandi.
Is the name of Amba is reborn as Shikhandi. So, yes, in this, what happened to Bhishma now is due to something in the past. So, what are the 3 scenarios we saw in Mahabharata? Arjuna and Duryodhana. Somebody else's wrong actions impacts you first. Cause and effect. Second, Pandu makes a wrong choice right now, and he has consequences for it in the future. What happens to Bhishma is because of the past. In all 3, there is cause and effect relationship. But is it all working out in a linear fashion? No, it's not working out in a linear fashion. This is why we say it is network of karma. When something happens to you, neither you can categorically say, because so many things are unknown, because any law operates over millennia. You can never categorically say that this, I have done something wrong, or somebody else is responsible, or it is my past karma, or it is my, but what you can do is, what can I do to the best of my ability to make right choices today? That's what you can do. And not be burdened by all the past and the gamut of past, which is unfathomable. Is it clear?
Yes.
This is so liberating, because you don't blame anybody. Neither you blame yourself, nor you blame the world. You understand that there are laws, and within that, what can I do to improve the nature of my causes in form of actions? I can't always do everything perfectly. It's not possible. Why is it not possible? Because you don't know everything about everything. But you can evolve. You can try your little better to make wiser choices. And that will shape your life. And you take your life in your hand. This is the most important thing. This is your starting point of evolving as a human being. You're not running away. So, this is once you understand this, what will happen? Samachittatva. Samachittatva means you will not lose your balance, and you will constantly engage to the best of your ability, no matter what life shows you. You're not this up and down, right? Like a roller coaster going up and down, or artificially trying to stop your emotions and deny your emotions, which is like a pressure cooker which will burst one day. So, is this value clear? Yeah? It's a much bigger thing than just trying to maintain composure. Yeah. Now, the next one, Nityatya Samachittatvam Ishta Nishtopapattishu. now the next is very nice. Maicha ananya yogena bhakti avyabhicharini. So in this verse, Lord Krishna talks about bhakti and what we need to, and he qualifies it as avyabhicharini bhakti. What is avyabhicharini bhakti? Bhakti which doesn't come and go. It's a continuous bhakti. So I will write that value. Mai cha ananya yogena bhakti avyabhicharini. My here is in me, but in me means Lord Krishna is not talking about a person in me, he is talking about the Lord. And that means that the laws, right, the order in the universe, the intelligence in the universe, which is the cause of the universe, ananya yogena, bhakti. Bhakti is you're connecting to the cause of the universe. Which is ananya yogena. What does it mean? It doesn't come and go, it remains continuous. So, generally, by bhakti, what we generally mean is some action. And what kind of an action? That you go to the temple, you are praying, or you are singing bhajans, or you are doing some chanting. But if that was the bhakti, can it be continuous? Can it be 24/7? No, it's not possible. You have to do certain other things. When Lord Krishna is talking about bhakti, he's talking about something else. He's talking about something, and that is becoming aware of the fact that all that is here is Ishvara. No matter what you do, no matter what, wherever you are never away from divinity.
From divinity?
From divinity. How? Because now suppose, right, I tell myself, how is it that I have a vocal cord, and how is it that I'm able to produce the sound, and your mind is able to decipher those sounds and understand that? How is that happening? Did I or you create the whole system? It's an intelligent system, and you are in that system. So you find yourself in the system where everything is provided. Look at this. You get up and you need air. Air is given for you to breathe. How? In fact, if all of us, when we breathe, what happens is we take the air, we absorb the oxygen, and we release carbon dioxide. Very soon, the atmosphere will be filled with carbon dioxide. Nobody will be able to live. So there is an intelligent system, there is a natural filtration. And what is the filtration? The very carbon dioxide that I release, trees absorb and they release oxygen. I'm in a system. I'm not alone and isolated. I have these vocal cords which move, and you have neurons which can tick and they can decipher and they can understand. You are in an extremely intelligent universe. The whole design is mind-boggling. And it's a benign universe. It's not a mean universe. So now, when I understand that, now look at the thing of bhakti. If I understand that the universe is constantly giving me everything that I need to survive, I need food. Sun participates, trees participate, waters participate to produce food for me day in and day out. So if the whole system is a benign system and constantly giving and giving and giving, and if I only think about taking and taking and taking and not give anything back, then I'm a very narrow-minded human being. So what happens is you become aware and you say, my actions are an offering to this grand order of Ishvara. You become a bhakta. Every time you do something, you say that I am in a unique place in the grand scheme of things, and I can do the best that I can, and that as is, this is my offering to this grand order of Ishvara. This particular thing is called Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. What is Ishvara Arpana Buddhi? My very act, all my actions, whether I'm in my professional life or I'm in my personal life or I'm with my family, my actions are an offering. You become a beautiful human being. When you receive the results of the actions, you understand that they come from the infallible order of Ishvara. You take it with certain gratitude, without resistance, without being angry. So, in India, we all go to the temple, right? So, there is a very famous temple called Tirupati temple. Some of you have been there, Tirupati temple? Okay. So, what happens is, you go there, right? And you get prasad. So what does it mean? You offer to the Lord whatever, something that you like, and the Lord, everything is Lord. Lord doesn't need anything from you. But the Lord gives back. And what does the Lord give back? Grace, prasad. Because you made that effort to connect. So there is a compensation for it. Now, in Tirupati, you get big laddus. They are very tasty laddus. But nowadays, what happens is everybody is very health conscious. So they said, oh, so many calories. Right? And my God, I don't eat sweet. So the people have all kinds of things. So when you give them laddu, they'll say no. But the minute you tell them that it is Tirupati Prasad, they will change. They will not reject it. They will take a little. They may not eat a lot. They take a little, but their whole attitude has changed. It is no longer calorie full of laddu, which is going to harm your body. It is just a blessing from Ishvara. What has changed? The object has not changed. The calories haven't changed. What has changed is your attitude towards that object. Because now you understand that it has come from Ishvara. If anything that comes to you in life, if you can understand that it is coming from the infallible laws of Ishvara, it cannot make a mistake. Then what happens is there is a conversion. Okay. And that conversion is called Prasada Buddhi. Living a life with Prasada Buddhi. So you don't resist, you are not a ninja, you are not projecting on life, but you begin to be this discerning, intelligent human being who understands life and learns to navigate intelligently. Then you become Bhakta. When you are able to take what is there without resistance, without anger, without sadness, just seeing that, then what happens? You become a bhakta. And bhakta unloads all the problems. At the altar of Ishvara and becomes healed. And that healed person can understand I and Ishvara are one. So I will talk a little bit more about bhakti because it's a very beautiful, beautiful thing. Living in connection with the cause of the universe in which you will find your healing. It's like a wave who feels isolated and alone. When it finds its existence within the ocean, it gets connection. It gets connected not only to the ocean, it's already connected, but there is no awareness of that connection. But along with the ocean, it also gets connected to all other waves. This is a bhakta, living a life with connection, not indifference. So, I will talk about this bhakti a little bit more. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.